Hello, Dr. Lawrence and classmates. My name is Dylan Lemp, and today I'll be speaking on Sonny Giles's 6 Competencies of Quantum Leadership. So, what is a quantum leader? In my words, it is a leader who excels at leadership competencies that foster an environment to win in complex systems by stimulating radical innovation in employees, which increases growth and complexity in the workplace. 40% of leaders today are quantum leaders. 60% are mechanic leaders, which is other group of leaders who don't excel at leadership competencies that are vital to win in a complex system like healthcare. We want to develop and foster quantum leaders. The turnover intent between the two groups is 37% according to Giles, and people are willing to forego up to 39% of their compensation, so their money, to be able to work for a quantum leader rather than a mechanical leader. So it's very important to work for a quantum leader rather than a mechanical leader. Effective leadership must change with the times to reflect the changes happening in the environment. Systems like healthcare are becoming more and more complex and require leaders to become quantum leaders and stop being mechanic leaders. We need to embrace nonlinear thinking and learn to become quantum leaders. So before I get into the competencies, we're just going to go over what is complexity. So as we know, technology has been evolving. So with that, technology increased the number of new variables that we see on a daily basis in our workflow, increased number of speed and interaction among these variables. So things like email and EHRs and items like that. Increased population resulting in higher density of interactions, so just more and more people we see and work with. Increased degree of interdependence among variables involved. So more people need to be more focused on their tasks at hand. What is radical innovation? So it's a manifestation of complexity that we have to have radical innovation. It occurs when self-organized employees experiment, learn, and adapt to complexity. It cannot be planned. It has to be fostered and nurtured by quantum leaders. Sonny Giles defines radical innovation as a holistic, serendipitous result of many self-organizing, interdependent employees learning from profuse experiments, using simple rules often to produce a minimum of 10 times the amount of improvements, dramatically changing the existing industry dynamics and providing a new platform for other innovations to build on. So now that we know about complexity, what a quantum leader is, and what radical innovation is, we're going to talk about the competencies that will get us to the top of radical innovation. So there's a hierarchy. You have to have self-management, provide safety, create differentiation, strengthen connection, and facilitate learning to accomplish radical innovation. And they have to occur in this order, kind of like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So they build on one another. Without safety, you cannot have connection or facilitate learning. The goals need to occur in this order to be able to achieve the ultimate goal of radical innovation and be a successful quantum leader. So let's first talk about self-management. So personal leadership in today's leadership framework is an afterthought. It is about leading others, but not oneself, which is incorrect. In order to provide safety and lead others, you first need to lead yourself as a quantum leader. Fear inhibits the brain's higher cortex, and we need that higher cortex function to stimulate innovation. So we need to learn to manage that. So we need to manage our own fear response so it does not trigger others' fear response. Traits of a quantum leader. They're open-minded, which means they're open to changing their view based off of available evidence. They must be transparent, which expedites decision making. They need to be vulnerable, which takes humility but allows a culture of safety and helps unleash creativity in employees. They need to be authentic. That is being open to everyone's beliefs and being curious about them and not making snap judgments or snap decisions based off of their race, their culture, items like that. Also need to be self-aware and do self-management, which we'll get into a little bit more on the next slide. So how do you become self-aware? You gotta have appropriate emotional and stress management. Quantum leaders are aware and awake so that they can detect team members' emotions and understand their social cues as well. Self-regulation is being steady in the storm, being consistent, being aware of one's own emotions and of others is key to emotional intelligence. You have to be highly emotional intelligent to be a successful quantum leader. So it's not having snap reactions, it's taking a moment to pause and assess the situation, stepping into the other person's shoes, managing their own stress, and stress put on the team from upper management by filtering that stress, taking what upper management is saying and filtering that down to a more appropriate level to them will take stress off them. So, how do we combat the power paradox that we have as leaders? Sunny gives us this 3Gs mesh model. Things we need to be doing as quantum leaders to provide self-management. We say thank you for even the smallest things for employees. You give credit to those who have helped with your success. You write handwritten notes, remember about people's families and ask frequently about them. You're mindful. You check in with self. Are you being kind and compassionate to others? You're empathetic. Explore how others feel and genuinely express concern and imagine what it would be like to be in their shoes. You share power. You delegate effectively using the eyes on, hands-off approach, giving members freedom to be innovative. And you're humble. Never be afraid to accept that you're wrong. Effective self-management improves performance as a leader. It increases the quality of life and relationships of the others around you and creates safety for the culture. So with self-management, next leads to providing safety. So with providing safety, safety is a primal human need, as we know with Maslow's hierarchy of needs. When you are stressed, that impacts your leadership style and flows to your team, creating an environment that is not safe. Stress in the workplace creates a fight, flight, or freeze environment in our brains, which occupies the ability to be innovative. Quantum leaders provide safety by being highly ethical and upholding moral standards. That was ranked the most important leadership attribute when surveyed. When this is upheld, we know the leader will play by the rules and thus create a sense of safety. Being an open book and sharing your thoughts, everything is congruent about them and the way they act, the way they speak, and the decisions they make. So being authentic and congruent. You set clear expectations for your employees. That allows team members to not get hit with unexpected results or outcomes of their work. It doesn't place blame, but clears the air, stating to them you're not blaming them, but trying to figure out how to get the job completed. You develop trust and advocate for others. Quantum leaders don't manage with fear. Team members know they will not be harmed. You praise in public, but you can chastise in private, one-on-one. Also going to bat and advocating for a team member and protecting them from outside harm. You distribute power evenly, fairly. And you have that hands-off, eyes-on approach. You don't play favorites, but you facilitate and coach others. Safety is essential as a quantum leader in complex environments to develop radical innovation. It's essential so that all members of the team can achieve their full potential. The next competency, creating differentiation. After we learn to self-manage and provide safety for our team, we can strengthen connections we need to create differentiation. Before we can strengthen connections, we need to create differentiation in the team. So we need to establish personal boundaries. That lets every team member know their clear job description and what the vision of the group is, and how each person individually fits into accomplishing the vision and the goal of the team or organization. We define clear roles for team members, respect time with starting and stopping meetings on time, respect boundaries of team members, don't set unreasonable deadlines and allow flexibility of deadlines. Facilitating collective intelligence and utilizing diversity. Utilizing the collective intelligence of the team is greater than a single team member. So this is also called calling on the wisdom of the crowd. This helps improve the quality of decision based on a diverse pool of problem solvers and different ways of thinking. The wisdom of the crowd improves accuracy of decisions and lets team members know their perspectives are valued and explored. Each team member brings a different level of diversity that contributes to the team. As a quantum leader, it is important to have different members of your team be from various races, genders, religion, and cultures to increase the ability to generate a diverse idea. And also, you allow team members to self-organize. Allowing the team to self-organize enables spontaneous order, which allows the whole to be greater than the sum of its parts. Self-organization allows for self-correction and allows for rapid correction on the front line by giving that power to the frontline team members. A rule of thumb for allowing self-organization is to distribute power to frontline employees until a leader starts to feel uncomfortable. You're always there to coach and correct, but you allow the team members to self-organize, which will increase their capability of innovation. The next competency is to strengthen connections. So how, as a quantum leader, can you strengthen connection and interdependence in your team? First of all, you love your team members. Love is self-explanatory. You just show interest in each member of the team on a personal and professional level, always pushing them to grow and do what is best for them. You increase transparency within your organization by removing friction in communication and sharing as much information as possible. Knowing what other team members are doing will help accomplish innovation within the environment and helps with self-organization. You reiterate the direction of the organization, keeps reminding the staff about the organization's goals and direction, keeps the big picture in mind. This grounds each member and provides cohesion as a group, knowing that they're all going towards the same goal. You also want to facilitate a sense of belonging. You do this by building team cohesion. You can let this happen through allowing team members or teams within your group to have a unique symbol, name, or logo. This facilitates an environment that has a strong sense of connection, that each team member has the back of the other team members. I've been in teams before where we had a team name, and I felt like we are stronger together than in other teams that I wasn't. By doing these skills to strengthen connections as a quantum leader, it'll strengthen interdependence and connection amongst members of the organization, and it is an essential building block to facilitate learning. So how, as a quantum leader, do we facilitate learning? So first, we utilize Bayesian measure to unlearn effectively. We do this by questioning outcomes, by asking tough questions to our staff to get them to see opposite conclusions and different interpretations. You're not being judgmental, but you're being curious and positive to stimulate thinking and innovation. You implement simple rules for rapid processing of innovation. That's important to expedite feedback and create a network that will help kickstart radical innovation. You always be flexible to change by having simple rules to adjust to complex environments. You create new knowledge from profuse experimentation. You let staff know that experimentation is perfectly okay and that failure is necessary to achieve radical innovation. It generates new knowledge that is needed to achieve the goals of the organization. You facilitate rapid adoption through effective feedback. You make feedback safe, so in a safe environment, one-on-one, and have frequent feedback sessions, separating them from quarterly or annual evaluations. Feedback is for learning opportunities. Feedback needs to be timely. You need to change annual review processes from the traditional bureaucratic procedures to a vehicle that is timely and promotes learning. We measure learnings instead of earnings. Organizations need to focus on how much organization and its employees learn instead of measuring how much they earned. It's a backwards type of thinking in today's culture. So lastly, with these competencies, you build a culture that is set up to produce radical innovation in complex systems. A higher level of complexity generates a greater state of well-being and generates more options for action, which improves the odds of survival in complex environments. So again, these competencies build from the bottom up to achieve radical innovation. So to wrap up, in complex environments, it is essential to be a quantum leader that provides employees with the following competencies in order to achieve radical innovation, which will increase complexity in the workplace and improve the odds of survival. Thank you for listening, and I hope you've learned a lot about quantum leadership competencies, and have a nice day.